Please welcome Doris Brown-McNally. Doris.
I'm in New York, New Jersey. So how you doing?
How you
Everything
doing?
good? Okay. First off, let me make sure I have this clicker going work, and I have to get away from this thing, I guess. Okay, let me make sure. And I turned it off. Did I do that? Okay. I'm Doris Brown-McNally. I get to work with the worldwide brands and creative agencies with HP's digital print solutions. I am so blessed. I'd have to tell you, these are the most amazing people in the world. And I want to thank the APC for inviting me here today, because I really love talking about these stories. So hopefully my presentation today is going to talk to you a little bit about what is digital print, what are some of the things you need to understand about it, and then I'm going to show you some really great case studies of how some of the most amazing brands out there are using digital print in good ways. That sound like a plan? Okay, good. I'm also an ex-New Yorker, so I'll also do the Ed Koch, how I'm doing. So you'll hear that every once in a while. Okay, a little bit about me. I've loved print ever since I was a young kid. I actually am female graduate number 2 out of RIT, and I wear that with a lot of pride. When I first came into this industry, there were no women in printing. So I love this. All right, hi, I just saw you. Hey. So I have to tell you, this printing industry has been amazing to me, and I think I've also offered it some good things. So I'm very blessed to still be here on this stage talking about print for over 38 years, okay? Number 2, I balanced my knowledge about print by getting an executive degree from Notre Dame in marketing. And that's one of the things I would say to creatives out there and to managers who are managing creatives out there, please get their other side of the brain working. They got great creative concepts, but they don't know how to put strategies together. They need to be mentored, they need to be educated, they need to be directed in that manner, and it's not comfortable. Working with data is not comfortable. So please, as leaders in the industry and the people who are out there, help educate the next generation, because they're going to need it to do amazing things like I'm going to show you here tonight. I started off my career working for GAF Corporation, an amazing company. Through all the acquisitions in the industry, they were ultimately purchased by International Paper, so I actually did a small stint with International Paper. I then went to Agfa Gevert, and that's where I became a district sales manager for the company, and I also managed their distribution channels. I had become friends with Steve Jobs, and he had given me one of the original Macintosh computers, and this is where I cut my teeth on technology and fell in love with the iMac. And I was working with the Lisa and the Lisa computer in the original image setting devices that Agfa had. I then became a CEO of a .com company that virtually was Adobe Online. And this was based out of Israel. So I took the risk to go outside and learn something outside my competency. We ultimately sold that company, and then Pantone asked me to join them. And I have to tell you, Pantone was probably one of the most amazing companies to work with. It was a crayon box every single day I went into it. And I learned so much about licensing and so much about relationship building with brands. They ultimately were acquired by X-Rite. I became the VP of X-Rite, and then I went and became the company head for Data Color. I left Data Color and came to HP. I wanted to get back into print. Print is where my heart is, has always been. So I've been with HP for about 5 years, and what my job is really just talking to you. I have the best job in the world. Call me an evangelist, call me whatever. My whole idea is I come and talk with brands and educate them about digital print. So that's my McNally. My next door neighbor my entire life, my husband. He was literally my next door neighbor, and I've been married to him for 38 years. And it's one of the other reasons why I'm grounded. Okay, so I need to pay homage to the husband. I also need to pay homage to the children. Okay, and come on, you guys travel, right? So I have to tell you, I had a horrific travel thing last night, just like everybody else did. But there's only one thing going through my mind, the dog bowl. My husband forgets to feed my dog, and I love my dog. I mean, how could you not love this? This guy's the coolest thing. His name is Clancy. Clancy's actually famous. He's on Martha Stewart's products. He's got his own Facebook page and everything like that. And I am always worried about that food bowl being empty. So before I got on the stage tonight, I called my husband and I said to him, have you fed the dog? Come on, you gotta feed the dog every once in a while. He then sends me this photograph. People, we gotta tell you, that's why I'm still married and that's why I laugh. I have somebody who has humor in his life. So a little bit about me, just to kind of give you a feel that I'm not just a Robotron talking about things. You know, we all have our life experience. You know, Digital print is really exciting right now for people and for brands, and I want to explain to you why. And it's really the innovation that's happened over the years. And there's a lot of different manufacturers out there. HP happens to be one. And I'm going to showcase for you today some of the reasons why digital print is becoming more important in the marketplace and why it's offering brands things that they've never been able to do before. And I'm also going to nestle in some case studies so you can see how it's working. So first off, let's all go back to the basics. You have traditional print. Traditional print has a long print process, and ultimately you get out the other end one of many. Every single piece coming off the press looks exactly the same. The difference with digital press versus traditional printing is that, number one, you can actually truncate the production cycle, making things able to get to the market faster. When you're talking about relevance, when you're talking about trying to align things with things going on in the marketplace, cutting down the production time and getting stuff out faster is key to talking to the person directly. The other thing is that when you consider what you're going to do on the outside, you have a wide variety of things you can do with digital print. And that's where I'm going to get to show you some of the fun stuff that's going on at the same time, hopefully educate you. How am I doing? Ed Koch, check. Okay, cool. All right. So first off, I want to talk about this production cycle and what you really are talking about with production. In one of the areas which is called tooling, you see this area that's selected right here? With digital print, you can actually eliminate or eradicate this whole process. This actually makes it able that you can get things to the market much, much faster in time. You have an idea. I've literally had designers in my office in Atlanta, New Jersey, in Atlanta, Georgia, working on a project. Ed Week people are here, I know John somewhere. They actually sat in my office, did a job, and it was on press that evening for a job that they were using the next week. So digital print offers you the ability to be much more nimble in getting things out to the marketplace faster. The other thing is that if you want to do the traditional print process, and if you do 1,000, 2,000, 100, 100 million, or a billion, you can still use digital print. That might be the most efficient way, but you can still use digital print. It doesn't have any limitations. If you have a feeling that digital print can do large volumes, please let me tell you, eradicate that idea. We can do as much as you want to do. The second thing is that you can do strategic printing. What is strategic printing? Let's say that you want to produce something for Florida and you want to have it speak to a specific demographic and you want it to be in Spanish. You can actually choose how you're producing your products across the nation to speak to different audiences. If you're up in Canada, you want it to be in French. If you want it to be in the Southeast, you want it to be in Spanish. You can choose how you want to speak to that audience. That's strategic marketing. And it allows you to use the data that you're mining and you're developing with your customers to be very articulate in how you're getting the materials out there. Another way that you can do this is through variable content. And variable content, here's an example. Let's say that you're a brand and you want to be able to do something very interesting to the marketplace. Maybe you want to work with some character sets. So here's a case with Share a Coke. They did variable content. Now, you've all seen this campaign, right? Okay, there's some amazing stories written about it. In fact, go into your Google engine and type in USA Today, Share a Coke campaign, and one of the executives actually talked about the success of the campaign and used numbers. I'm not allowed to. We're under non-disclosure, so we can't do that, but it is amazing. I mean, it made my jaw drop when you see how much this campaign brought to them after a 6-year decline in dark soda sales. Okay, but why did they do it? This is where I love APC, that they want me to come and talk about why they did it. Okay, so what happened is they did a market research study, and they did their original study in Europe. And they found out that a very small percentage of tweeners, kids between 8 and 18, had ever tried a Coke product at all. Now, take a second and think about that. That means within one generation, Coca-Cola could totally lose their branding. Totally lose it. That means one generation, Coke could go from number 1 to number 0. Okay? So they recognized they had an issue. So they went in and they started to think about, how do we change this? And another thing, there's a great book out there by Martin Lindstrom called The Smashable Brand. Read it. The original brief from the Coca-Cola CFO was, I want a bottle. When you take that bottle and throw it on the ground and it breaks into shards, I want people to know that's a Coke bottle on the ground. So the Coke company has recognized how important branding is, even to their physical execution, all the way back 100 years when they first did the bottle. So they knew that if they could get this bottle of soda into these tweeners' hands, that they would get another customer for a long period of time. So now the big challenge is, how do you get the bottle into their hands? Well, they know the millennials. And what is it all about with the millennials? All about me. So they put the names on the bottles. Okay? Now, little secret you may not know is that if you're in California or in New York or if you're in Germany, All the names are different. They chose the top 150 names in each one of those demographic areas and populated the shelves with it. There were also rules, okay? You could not put them in alphabetical order if you're a retailer. You had to just randomly put them on it. So let me tell you a little story. I apologize for those friends who've heard me speak before because I tell the same story. But I was in Dallas Airport. It was the first time I saw the Coke campaign in the airport. And all the names were in the cabinet. So I open up the refrigerator door and I get on my knees, I'm in a dress, and I'm digging through the bottles and I'm looking for the names because I didn't even know what names they had selected for the US. And with this, somebody tapped me on the shoulder and said, "What are you doing?" And very innocently, I grabbed the bottle out and I go, "Look, it's got names." I was excited about it as anybody else would. With this, 5 arms reached over me and started grabbing through the case. That was the brilliance of the Share a Coke campaign. That's why when you go into the stores, they wanted to create that activity at the shelf level. And it was brilliant, very brilliant. So a little bit of technical information. I want to show you or kind of break down some of the perceptions or some of the issues. This is a standard design file, okay? And what happens is, I want to show you how digital print works. In this case, this label had a specific number on it that was relevant to the brand, and they were using it to track something. That number was variable. It was actually personalized. They could actually track down to where it was manufactured, what store it was going to go to, and what date it was produced on. There was also a name, of course, and as I said before, they took the top 150 names in the geography, populated it in the mirror. The secret was they found the longest name first, and they made that area as big as it could be for that longest name. The next thing is that they had a barcode on there, and that barcode also offered information about the franchise dealership or whoever they were selling the product to that they were using internally. There was also an image, which was a promotion, and the promotions changed by geography. So they actually were able to use the variable capability of digital print to insert this into the campaign. Bottom line, all this information feeding off of a database. Hey guys, the database can be as simple as an Excel spreadsheet. It doesn't need to be anything crazy. It can be a simple Excel spreadsheet. This information is sent to what's called a RIP, a writing engine, that sends it to the printing press, and ultimately you get the beautiful packaging that you see in the marketplace. That's how simple it is. It's nothing, it's no brain scientist. And what I would say to you is, this is where you start to need to look at your relationship with the print service provider that you work with a little bit differently. Don't work at them as a vendor and say, what's the price? Start to partner with them. Understand what you can and cannot do. They're your best education people. Anyway, so this is how Coca-Cola made all this stuff happen, and it was gorgeous. But I want to take one step further and show you the genius of Coca-Cola. So I was in Manhattan, and I went downtown. I was in Times Square, and it was the week David Letterman was resigning from the late night show. And I walk downtown, and I see this huge billboard that says the top 10 reasons why Coke loves late night. And it was 10 bottles of the word Dave. And I went, brilliant, brilliant. I mean, they have extended packaging to extend branding past their packaging. It's just another way the voice of the brand coming out tremendously. I took photographs, I'm on the phone, I'm tweeting it, I'm having fun with my friends. My big management was coming in next week, so I was all ready to bring them downtown to show them the Times Square. They changed it, but they changed it for the better. It was the last week of Mad Men, and what they did was they put the top characters up on the board. People brilliance. Sometimes you have to acknowledge brilliance. And I think that when you look at the people who are being very innovative right now, there are some of the bigger brands. But that doesn't mean the smaller brands and you can't deploy some of these ideas. Don't be frightened because they're big. You can do this. It's just think about your work a little, think about your marketing a little bit different. Okay, so another form of digital print. Like the way that I'm mixing in some education and some samples too? Okay. So the next one is randomized printing. And this is where you can actually do these character sets I started to mention earlier. So here's an example. L'Oreal. Anybody from L'Oreal here? So L'Oreal has this beautiful kids shampoo called L'Oreal Kids. The problem was nobody recognized L'Oreal as being a children's product because they're known as an old lady hair product or makeup product. But this product is killer. The shampoo is amazing. I've seen it, I've tested it, it's been great. But their packaging was not doing it for them. So one of their creatives said, well, why don't we do what the cereals companies do? Why don't we partner with Disney and Pixar and get some characters on the front of it? And they said, we can't do that. Why can't you? They came to us, we said, absolutely you can. And what you saw actually this is about 7 years ago now, they introduced their first line of character sets with the Disney Toy Story 3 characters. They had 4 products. Now, Woody and Buzz wound up going off the shelf like crazy. they would go back in and just produce Woody and Buzz. They did just-in-time management. So they were able to use the benefits of digital print and being able to manage to demand to their benefit. And when they had a cutover to another show, they didn't have any waste. They were actually managing to their demand. Now, the other thing I want you to see is they've gone from those colored packaging to the white packaging, so they've actually centralized everything to one color. That saved a lot of money. The only thing that changes is really the caps. So let me blow your mind a little bit. I used to be the VP of Pantone, so I have to speak Pantone words for a little while. So is there still 1,114 colors in the Pantone guide? Is it more now? They changed it, it's up more? It's more up, okay. So when I left there was 1,014. If you try to reproduce those colors in traditional printing, you can only get 50% of the colors. All the Pantone colors are not achievable in 4-color process. But you can achieve 98% of the colors with HP's Indigo technology. This right here is being produced with 3 inks, not 4, 3. And it's hitting all the brand characters. The characters are meeting the demand of the brands. So digital print also gives you the ability to really take advantage of some efficiencies if you do things smart. Some other examples of some beautiful work that they've done. They're into 13 properties. They've done 13 different movie properties with L'Oreal. Great, great thing. To the point now where it's not L'Oreal asking Pixar, it's Pixar going, hey, can we promote with our next show with you? So the relationship, they're using digital print to change the relationship with people. So that's an example of randomized printing. The next one I want to go over is hyper-customization. These last two are killer, and I got to tell you, this is what you're seeing in the marketplace that's blowing your mind right now. Hyper-customization is where every single package on the shelf is totally different, okay? We saw this during the summer. Bud Light, the Budweiser group, actually did this for their Mad Descent concert. They wanted to do something unique for the millennials who go to this concert, and they wanted to break free of that Duck Dynasty type of persona they have. So what they did was they partnered with regional artists, and these artists made their art available. They using our proprietary software, which is called Mosaic. They took one piece of art, and they were able to produce millions of different executions off of that one piece of art. What happens is the software goes in and grabs elements of the artwork, enlarges it, reduces it, shifts it left, shifts it right. So every single bottle or can looks totally different. This was amazing. It went over very well. Of course, to the millennials who went there, it totally re-engaged them, and it gave them a reason to tie in. Now, going back to CocaCola, Coke did this also in Israel. And I think I have a video to go over this. I'll let the video speak for it, because that's actually fun.
We at Diet Coke believe that each one of us is unique. That in each one of us, you can find that special something that is extraordinary. This is the essence of our brand. We have decided to make an innovative marketing move and replace our branded bottles designs with millions of unique and different looks. Millions of one-of-a-kind bottles. All bottles, in all sizes. Each one is unique. No other bottle in the world looks the same. In order to make our consumers feel extraordinary each time they drink a Diet Coke, we've developed a revolutionary technology. A special algorithm gave the printers the ability to think like a designer and create countless and different amazing designs, which were printed on all the bottles. Millions of designs. Millions of bottles. The launch of the campaign was followed by hundreds of billboard ads. Each billboard looked different. At point of sale, we gave our consumers branded gifts printed with the same designs as appeared on their bottles. We flooded the TV with a groovy spot and a pop-up commercial every time there was an extraordinary performance on The Voice show. The campaign created a huge buzz on the social media and even on eBay. The results were also extraordinary. We gave our consumers the actual feeling of extraordinary by bringing our brand's values to life.
absolutely beautiful execution. I had a chance to see this running on press, and I felt like I was watching a Jackson Pollock painting being done, because the splatters of paint coming off the press, every single bottle was absolutely different. A very, very dynamic product. Now, I want to show you another one. This one just actually is on the marketplace February 1st. If you go into the store right now, Coca-Cola has this on shelf. Every single bottle is different, and it's the Diet Coke execution, and it's called It's Mine. They're using 32 base pieces of art because the demand here, of course, is much higher in the United States, and every single label, every single bottle is different. So go check it out. That's a new one that's going to the marketplace. Now, this stuff is not just for bottles and for cans. It's also for some other things. This company, Strauss Elite, is a company that's kind of like the Hershey Company. They manufacture chocolate in Israel. And they have this chocolate that's very well known called Moo. What they did was they've been watching the trend in origami that's been going on in social media. And what they did was they decided to take the packaging and let people use this mosaic artwork and create the ability for them to fold origami cows and use it in social media. So here's a little video on this one. So every single package is different, and if you go online, everybody's posting pictures of their cows. And there's actually sceneries and everything they can put together with it. So they're creating this new marketing and connecting it with the trends that are going on in the marketplace. Remember that, because one of the other ones I'm going to show you in a second is going to talk about that. So the last one, which I think is the most exciting one on the marketplace, is called personalization. This is where I actually can produce something just for you. And you can actually design it with me. So in this case, every single piece is totally, totally different, and it can be image different, it can be color different, it can be content different, it can be whatever the brand wants you to do. So a little bit of, this study just came out a few days ago. At least I only saw the study. If somebody's here to correct me on that, I only saw this recently. But I think that's interesting is that they're saying that buyers are recognizing the value of personalization and believe that if they purchase something that's personalized, that there is value in that. They're actually willing to pay more for that. And some of the brands we're working with are actually showing that and seeing that on a daily basis. They even have programs that are self-funding. So there is value, perceived value by the consumer when you personalize. Remember that. And that's one of the other things you need to connect when you do marketing. So the Oreo people, Mondelez, had seen the Budweiser campaign. And they contacted me, and within 2 days, I was in their facility in New Jersey. And they had been following the trend of coloring, adult coloring books. And they wanted to somehow bring adult coloring books to the marketplace through their packaging. And what they envisioned was they would give you the opportunity to choose from 2 different pieces of art from 2 different artists. They were black and white pieces of art. You were then they were given a palette of colors you could work with. You could then color in the packaging the way that you wanted to color it. Then you could add some bling to the smile. They consider the Oreo smile their smile or their branding. And you could put different types of hats on it, earmuffs, gloves, scarf. And you could choose different words. They could be love, joy, ho-ho. It was fun. Then what you could do is put a tag on it. You could say, Merry Christmas. I did some things with hashtags like, best friend shit and stuff like that. And I would send these packages to my friends as Christmas presents. They started this program from the day that they first sat down to the day they executed it, okay, was 45 minutes. Some of these brands is they're so cool. The disadvantage is you hum these songs forever. You really, really do. But I want to talk a little bit more about how they tied this campaign to social media. You know this person over here, Khloe Kardashian? Khloe Kardashian got one. She posted a little tweet, She's got 17 million followers. Their sales went like this. Simple, simple little things. Simple little marketing tactics. So this was Oreo's first attempt into taking their products. This is a product you typically buy in store. They actually opened up a shopping environment within 45 days. They built an entire website. They built the whole packaging thing. This was amazing. There's videos I can share with you where they're openly talking about a typical program like this in the past would have taken 2 years to develop. 45 days. Amazing. So I have to applaud them. I think they're doing amazing things. In fact, I called the product manager, Lauren Fisher, who actually works for Mondelez, the Khaleesi. Come on, some of you guys have to watch Game of Thrones. She's the Khaleesi of the marketing world right now, because she's the dragon mother. She just really took it on very well. So now what I want to do is, I've kind of gone through all the benefits or capabilities of digital print. I want to show you some really innovative stuff that you're seeing right here in New York. So I've got 3 more pieces left, and then I'm done. Next, you can go get your drinks a little bit later on. So first off, lost my name. There was a bunch of men in Israel who actually were reading children's books to their children every night, and they realized that the children were getting bored because it wasn't about them. They wanted to know what it could be. So I actually built these books where you go online, you type in your child's name, and it creates a story about your child losing their name and then finding it through the characters. So here's a little video on this one. This is very creative. It's the #1 selling book in Amazon right now and has been through the holiday seasons.
This is Amber. We've made Amber a special book just for her. It tells the story of a little girl who wakes up to find that her name has disappeared. So she heads off on a magical adventure to find it. She meets a friendly aardvark who gives her the first letter of its name. Next, she meets a rather vain mermaid and a bear who really needs his sleep, a very forgetful elephant, and a happy robot. Each character gives Amber the first letter of their name. And hey presto, her name is found. And it's not just for Amber. We can make books for any child, boy or girl, with different characters giving different letters to make any name, and show that with courage, curiosity and kindness, anything is possible, even finding a missing name.
So my godchild has 3 children. So for Christmas, I ordered these books for them. And they even were smart enough to make sure that if the 2 children or 3 children in the family had the same letters, that they didn't use the elephant all the time. They had different characters, and you could actually, the software within the program actually changed the names. And I have to tell you, the youngest one that I got the book for was only 6 months old. And I was thinking that the 2 girls would read it to this brother. And it's actually one of the most prized Christmas presents they got this year. And I think that this is just what we stand for. I mean, our industry has such beautiful things we can do with education right now, making it more relevant to the children out there. Here's another example. This one actually gives me chills. So the San Juan Hospital in Barcelona is similar to St. Jude's Hospital here in the United States. And if anybody's ever had a child go through any kind of special surgery or any kind of special cancer treatment, you know how frightening it is. And there's a very alarming statistic that close to 80% of the children have to go through MRI machines. MRIs are just lay down the machine and let it make its noise. But they have to be sedated. Now they're already sick, and to actually put more chemicals into their body at this time is such a bad thing to do. So there's something called distraction therapy, and I'll let the video speak for it, but this is where I see print technology and a need in the marketplace satisfying a big issue, and this is probably one of the thing that makes me go to work every single day.
Hospitals can be stressful places for anyone, particularly children. The buildings, the uniforms, the equipment, all of this can appear bewildering and frightening to youngsters. This is particularly true of the radiology department. Big machines, windowless rooms, and cold, sterile walls, none of this is designed to make young patients feel at ease. Indeed, research in the US suggests up to 80% of children were needing to be sedated before undergoing scans. Coping with a serious illness is difficult enough. A traumatic hospital experience does nothing to calm a frightened child. Doctors and nurses understand this. They know that a calmer, warmer, more welcoming environment produces better patient outcomes. Sant Joan de Déu Barcelona Children's Hospital wanted to address this challenge. Aware that visual distraction techniques had proved successful in children's physicians' offices, it aimed to improve young patients' experiences of its radiology department. The hospital embarked on a redecoration of the children's wing of the hospital with HP, who had experience creating unique environments for children using HP latex printing technologies. The project would reimagine the entire CAT and MRI scan and preparation rooms. Instead of being seen as patients, children are now cast as astronauts in a space story. Rather than walking into a stark, cold room, children are now transported to the stars as crew members in a mission to galaxies and planets far beyond. This was only possible due to the unique features of HP latex printing technologies. HP latex is certified for indoor environment, including schools and hospitals. It meets local government regulations and the hospital's commitment to the environment. It is also easy to install and easy to maintain, as it's durable and easy to clean. Crucially, HP latex technology allows the use of a range of substrates, enabling the hospital to wrap every wall, cupboard, and piece of equipment. The materials were dry as soon as they came off the printers, allowing the team to complete the transformation overnight without disrupting patient appointments. The result is a more inviting, engaging, and less intimidating experience for children. The hospital says calmer patients are easier to treat. Some children even ask their parents if they could come again the next day. The Barcelona Children's Hospital redesign project is one example of how HP latex technology is impacting end users not only on traditional signage, but beyond, thanks to the broad range of compatible substrates and its environmental credentials. To find out how HP digital printing can meet your challenge, go to hp.com/go/discover digital.
So since we've done this video, they've actually extended it now. Thank you. Since we did this video, what they're now doing is they're actually producing books for the children. And the night before they go in for the test, the parents actually read the children the book about this special mission they're going to be on the next day. This also makes the parents more comfortable, makes everybody realize what's going to go on. And once again, I can't say how much I think that this is where the brilliance of marketing and connecting a need with the technology capabilities is amazing. Last one. So, look up people. Mary Jordan Smith is, now I don't want to steal all the copy from the video, but Mary is a photographer and a journalist. She went to a country, she got sick. While she was there, the women of the country took care of her. They literally had to walk 3 hours a day to get her water so they could bring her back to health. After she was back to health and healthy, she said, what can I do for you? Can I give you my camera? Can I give you this? Can I give you my jewelry money? And it was one pregnant girl who was about 16 years old who said, please go back to your country and educate them about our plight, our need for potable water. And this is how she responded in New York City. And all you have to do is look up right now.
Mary Jordan is an artist and filmmaker who'd been working on an ethnographic documentary in southern Ethiopia when she came down with a life-threatening waterborne disease. With no access to modern hospitals or clinics, she was nursed back to health through the kindness of a young village girl. As Mary recovered and prepared to leave, she was confronted by an unusual request.
I tried to give this girl anything. Like I said, do you want my jewelry, my camera? And she wouldn't take anything. She just basically said, go back to your country and do something, anything about water.
Back home in New York City, Mary's life returned to her usual routine. But as the months passed, she was unable to let go of the memory of the Ethiopian girl's compassion and the promise she'd made.
One day I was just walking, I was in Brooklyn at the time, and I looked up and I saw, the water tower, and I thought, what are those used for? I started to look into it, and then I just thought, why not wrap them with artwork or messages and, try to use art to viscerally affect people on the global water issue.
What seemed to be a simple idea quickly exploded into a mammoth project, requiring hundreds of donors and dozens of volunteers.
Every 22 seconds, a child dies from waterborne disease. And every hour that we stand here, 250 million plastic bottles are wasted, and only about 18% are recycled. One of these water tanks holds the same amount of water that an African family can live off for 5.5 years. That's how much water one New Yorker wastes in a year.
In addition to recruiting some of the world's foremost artists to her project, Mary was faced with the question of how best to wrap up to 100 New York water tanks in a way that satisfied the aesthetic needs of the artist, while meeting her own requirement for an environmentally responsible solution.
I spent like about 3 months researching all signage materials. And one day we were doing some test prints with some various media, and we came up with this HP product, their latex inks, and their media that printed phenomenally. And for me, it was most important that it met these environmental standards because, of course, we would be scrutinized. I can tell you that this was by far the most sustainable solution that we came across, and that's why we chose HP and their media products. Once we get an artwork and it's ready to print, we're so keen to put it up, and it's all about how quickly we can move it. And no other product dried right out of the machine like that. And it was great for us because we could just roll it up, fold it up, and move and install immediately. And this saved us an incredible amount of headaches. The ability to print with such high quality in a water-based situation is really outstanding. Outstanding.
The piece is called Current, and it's about the type of energy that's a clash of color and pattern. That piece is, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of yards away, and I'm seeing the image. So it's got to have some kind of sharpness and clarity for you to see it at that distance.
This is kind of a rock that creates a ripple, and everyone that sort of becomes a part of that ripple is affected. And you know, if we manage to transform their consciousness and their ideas on water, then we've done our work, and we will continue to create more ripples.
So once again, just another innovative way of using this material. So with that, guys, I want to thank the APC once again. I really do. I enjoy doing this as much as I hope you guys enjoyed. How do you do? Good. Okay. Social media land, feel free to reach out to me. I'm Doris.Brown if you don't want to do the -McNally. I did the -McNally about 5 years ago. I figured I had to make my husband honest. After 38 years, I gave him his last name. Boy, I wasn't thinking. It's hard to type that long name. So it's just Doris.Brown@hp.com. And thank you, and I hope you found this information helpful.